Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Ben and JB from JBM Sports Media, and we're down to our final two teams, and we have to do it like this. We have the Blue Jays we're doing right here. Last video will be the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, AL reigning defending champs. And we have to talk about this lineup, obviously. Then we'll talk about the rotation, then the bullpen, then conclude with the over-under win total. JB, I'll throw it to you first. How do you feel about this Blue Jays lineup for 2026?
It's basically the lineup that we saw in the World Series pretty much last year, minus the new acquisition of Kazuma Akamoto and replacing Bo Bichette. Those are really the two subtractions out of this lineup. The big subtractions out of this lineup right now. But the addition of Akamoto to me is almost, I feel like it's going to be something that's going to fit very easily. I think he's going to really like it there. I don't think the pressure is going to be on him to perform right off the bat. I think he'll ease into it, and I think he's going to be a really good professional major league hitter, especially in that 7 spot. I think that this just proves that this Blue Jays lineup has so much depth coming out of that bottom of that lineup. I mean, look at it. Ernie Clement literally had close to 40 hits in the postseason last year. He was on a complete and utter tear in the postseason and the World Series. Obviously, Andres Gimenez, not known for his bat, known more for his glove, but he could run into a couple of home runs and knock in some RBIs here and there. And like I said, Akamoto in that 7th hole. So you really have not a lot of holes in this lineup if you look at it. I mean, Alejandro Kirk has now emerged to be the cleanup hitter. Varsho has 30 home run power. Obviously, we know Vlad is going to be in the top 5 every year in MVP voting, most likely. Addison Barger, to me, who's really come out of left field, if you think about it, kind of, the unspoken hero a little bit as well. Could play third base, too, if need be. And he has the ability to play, the outfield, and he'll be the starting right fielder. And obviously, George Springer is the DH. It makes a lot of sense for a couple of reasons, and obviously one of them is health reasons, right? George has had some health problems in the front end of this contract, and now that he's reaching the back end of this deal, I do feel like him being the DH makes a lot of sense. And if you do need him in the outfield, you can always plug him into the corner outfield spots. Obviously, he's comfortable there. So this lineup to me is gonna do very well. I think they'll win a lot of games and they'll score a lot of runs.
Yeah, I think I couldn't have said it better. I think when it comes to this Blue Jays lineup, even though they did lose Bo Bichette, bringing in Akamoto, who I think is going to be a very good bat in this lineup, fits kind of perfectly to their model. Not striking out, more so contact approach, especially if you have guys like you said, Nathan Lukes, Ernie Clement, who are good contact hitters, and then they have guys like Schneider on the bench, obviously Miles Straw. I mean, there's defense all around in this team. Alejandro Kirk, Barger, Springer at this point is a DH, but hey, his bat has really come around. I mean, it came around last year in their run to the World Series. So I like this team. I like this lineup more so because I know with Vlad, he has 100 potential right there, 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. He has that potential written all over him. He's that type of player. Dalton Varsho is basically a platinum glove type of player as well. I mean, and he provides some good offense, some good pop every now and then. So that's always good to see. I really do like this lineup. Even though they did lose Bo Bichette, I think it's going to be one of those things that Akamoto could fit in perfect to that spot of replacement. Maybe not exactly with the batting average, but I can see him bringing in more pop. I really could. But yes, without further ado, let's get into the starting rotation. Then we're going to get into, there you go, the starting rotation. Then we're going to get into the bullpen, obviously. JV, what do you think about the rotation to start off?
I think, listen, it's a pretty decent rotation, right? Obviously, you have workhorses like Kevin Gossman and Dylan Cease. My concern is obviously the back end of this rotation with Cody Ponce, who hasn't pitched in the major leagues in a while. He secured a 3-year deal, and he also has potential to pitch out of the bullpen if they need some depth in the bullpen there. And then you bring back Max Scherzer, who's obviously a year older now, reaching his mid-40s. So you do have some question marks, and obviously Dylan Cease doesn't have the best record against AL opponents and AL East opponents specifically. So hopefully that turns around. He's going to be a Blue Jay for the next 7 years. So hopefully he can pitch well in that division. I know he does struggle with the Yankees, Orioles, and Tampa and Boston collectively. So that's going to be interesting to see how he fares in the AL East. And obviously Kevin Gossman, if he stays healthy, he's going to give you 200 innings, or close to that, and he could win you 13 to 16 games and be a real workhorse at the top of that rotation. So I think if everybody stays healthy, it could be a really nice rotation. I think Eric Lauer really came out of the blue last year and really surprised a lot of people. And it's interesting to see that he's in the middle of this rotation. So that's another guy that you could throw into the bullpen as well if you need some help in the pen for whatever reason. So we'll see how this rotation fares. I think they do have some question marks, but I think it's a strong rotation.
Yeah, I think for the time being, till your Savage comes back with the shoulder impingement, as I was reading about it, it doesn't seem like it's going to be quite substantial amount of time. Just he wasn't ramping up for the beginning of the year. But even then, Shane Bieber's right around the corner from a return as well. So they still have those two guys that they're going to plug in right there. Which I think once they do, all they got to do is weather the storm. And with the lineup, and obviously we'll get into the bullpen in a second that they do have, it's going to be perfectly fine. I don't have no concerns. Dylan Cease, and one thing I do see is obviously his track record against the AL. I think that's completely fair. I do like that he has talked about how the Brewers, I mean, not Brewers, the Blue Jays pitching lab has actually transformed a little bit and helped him get some stuff, some bad, I guess, habits that he had in San Diego out the way. And if we get to see a little bit of a transformed version of Dylan Cease cut down the walks, I think that'd be a key thing right here. Kevin Gosman, he's a workhorse. Like you said, he brings in quality and quantity, which you always love with the starting pitcher. Eric Lauer, I mean, I've loved his resurgence. He played for the Brewers. I really have loved to see how he's resurged. Cody Ponce won the KBO MVP, and now he's here in America again, trying to go at it again. So we'll see how that goes. Max Scherzer actually did pretty good while he was in his stint in Toronto last year. So if he could even add on to it a little bit, they're going to be fine. I think they can weather the storm. What do you think about this bullpen, though?
Well, I think it's very strong. I think they have a lot of depth. I mean, they're strong. This is a really strong pen. They're bringing a lot of guys back. Obviously, Louis Vaughn was a big key, big piece for them. Jeff Hoffman was a big piece. And I like the fact they signed Tyler Rogers. They gave Tyler Rogers a boatload of money. That was a really, really nice and aggressive move that they did to shore up that, that setup role to get to Hoffman. And I think, Vaughn and Rogers is a nice bridge to get to Hoffman. I think, obviously, the narrative here when it comes to the bullpens in this series that we've been doing is what is your bridge to get to your ninth inning guy and your closer? Because it's so important to when you get into that seventh and eighth inning, who are those guys that you could rely on? And I think the middle of this bullpen is really good too. And I think they'll be just fine. And I think they have a lot of names here that maybe aren't sexy and they don't pop at you at the the first second that you see them, but they're going to produce a lot of big outs for this bullpen.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I think Jeff Hoffman, for the most part, in the regular season, he was pretty good. In the postseason, he was good until he gave up the home run to Miguel Rojas in the most critical moment of their season. But bringing in a guy like Tyler Rogers, I think, was very good. Did they have to overpay a little bit? Yeah, they did. But, I mean, it's worth it because him being a good setup guy for Hoffman, that's going to be key. Louis Varland, I think he has a great fastball. Even his curveball's filthy. And then when you have guys in the middle of that bullpen right there, like Brandon Little, Tommy Nance coming back, I think Mason Fluharty, especially, he had some key outs in the World Series. I really do like it. They have a good amount of lefties. They have two, and maybe, who knows, they'll promote one of their prospects coming up to be in this bullpen as well. Or maybe they just put Cody Ponce in there for long relief once Bieber and Trey Savage come back. But I have no concerns that this bullpen and the starting rotation, as the season go on, I feel like that's when it will get stronger. To start off, yes, there's concerns, obviously, with Lauer and Ponce being, I guess, approached as like big-time pieces in this rotation. But Lauer could just come back in this bullpen whenever Shane Bieber comes back, and I think that's what's going to end up happening, obviously. But regardless, now it's time for the most fun part of the video. Obviously, we get into the win total for the Toronto Blue Jays for the 2026 season. Over under 88.5 wins, and it's actually at plus 112 to go over. Wow, that's actually kind of interesting. What you got, JV?
I'm going over. I mean, I'm actually surprised it's not at like 91.5 or 90.5, something in the 90s. I'm a little surprised that this is under 89. To be honest with you, I'm going to go over and say that they win 93 games. I say they win one game less than they did last year. They go 93 and 69, and I picked the Yankees to go 92 and 70. So I would have them as division winners again. If everything goes right, they stay healthy, and they produce the runs that I know this lineup can produce. With their high contact rate, I really do think 93 wins is something that they will achieve in 2026.
Yeah, I think this is an easy over for me, not only because as you guys hear my dog barking in the background, but I think this is an easy over for me because I do believe that this team is still going to be the quality of not just exactly the World Series team that we saw last year, but even if the subtraction of Bo Bichette comes into play, I do believe that they still have the quality to kind of get it clicking in late August, early September, heading into the postseason. I'm going over. I'm going 92 wins for the Toronto Blue Jays.
All right. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think 92 wins is it's fair. And that's interesting because I have the Yankees at 92 and 70 as well. So I know you have the Yankees a little lower than me, but if that would happen, that would be basically what happened last year. They both won 94 games and went 94 and 68 last year. So that's pretty interesting. So we'll see what happens with that.
Exactly. And one thing I think that I will mention right here, I have the Blue Jays at 92 wins, the Red Sox at 91 wins, and the Yankees at 90 wins. So right there, just one loss each between them. And
wow, that's awesome.
I think this division is going to be a dogfight. I'm so excited for it. I really am. I think if one thing that I can say is a guaranteed is it's really a toss-up in this division, depending how the season plays out, what moves each team makes at the trade deadline. That's why I think the margin between the Red Sox and Yankees is so thin. And I can see the Yankees even winning this division or the Red Sox winning this division if, let's say, Toronto starts off a little bit slow.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll say this as a Yankee fan. The first month for the Yankees is so important due to the fact that Garrett Cole's coming back and Rodon coming back. So if they're behind the 8 ball before those two guys get back, not knowing what they're going to be able to give us, Rodon, we were just talking before we went on, Rodon hasn't even gotten a spring training start yet, and Garrett Cole is making 2 starts before Rodon even made 1, and he's had less of an injury than Cole did. So, and he's supposed to come back earlier than Cole. So that's a little concerning. But we'll see what happens with this. You make a great point. I think all 3 of those teams could win the division, barring a pretty good start early on.
Yeah, obviously, we want to hear your guys' opinions. Let us know what you guys think about the Toronto Blue Jays in 2026. We have one more left after this one. I'm super hyped for it. It's been a long journey, but the season starts in a few days. So make sure you guys subscribe here on JBM Sports Media, and we'll catch you guys on the next one as you hear my jobber dog barking because, well, and guess what? It has been fed. This dog has been fed. Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. This jobber dog right now, oh my gosh, it's over. It's over with this dog right here.
He wants to go outside. It's beautiful out. Let him outside, man.
Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna let him out, and that's it. That's it right there. But we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Later, guys.